Everybody, this is Eureka John with Eureka Street Crypto Hub, broadcasting live from Leander, Texas. It is 6:32 in the morning on Monday, so happy Monday, and July 5th, 2021. I imagine a lot of people possibly working off hangovers from the July 4th holiday, and if you are, well, okay, whatever. I don't feel sorry for you. The cost of independence. Anyway, so yeah, this is my video show, and I'm broadcasting, on Theta TV. And if you aren't aware of the Theta Network, it is a decentralized, well, I wouldn't say fully decentralized, but decentralized enough video streaming, I wouldn't say platform. It is a project that allows everybody to share their bandwidth and run the video streaming services by sharing bandwidth to prevent bottlenecking and all the muddy streaming that you get, and a lot of times streams dropping. And it allows everybody to do that by installing nodes on their devices that allow people to share the bandwidth and earn T-Fuel as a result. And it's all done on the blockchain, and with aims of being decentralized. It is decentralized in a way that there are validator nodes, and there are several of them, and then underneath that there are guardian nodes, and underneath that there are edge nodes. So yeah, everything runs off of nodes, and all the content does not come from one major content delivery server. So that is the beauty of Theta Network. I don't know how I got on that tangent. But this is my video blog, and I broadcast every single morning, and I just talk about anything that I've learned in crypto, either the night before or just the morning or just in general. Starting to get some listeners here, and people are throwing out suggestions and giving me ideas, and offering me links to talk about, and I appreciate that, because it helps me not have to look so much, although I don't want to get lazy. Never want to get lazy about this, but this is definitely not professional advice, not financial advice, and I'm not your teacher, so don't consider this that. Just take it for a grain of salt. I've looked back at past episodes, and I've gotten some things horribly inaccurate, and then other things, did a pretty good job with. So you live and learn, crash and burn, and I've been growing as I go along through this since last October 2024, and it's been quite a journey, and I've really, I love it. So yeah. Anyways, you might see on my YouTube channel, I've been creating little animations and stuff like that, and I'm working on doing a full new intro for this this show. Hey Randy, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Thanks for logging on yet again, and I appreciate you jumping on. And yesterday he caught me without sound, so I'm glad that I'm assuming you can hear me today, so that's good. And kind of working as I go along. Last week I had some streaming issues in which it was constantly buffering, but not anymore. Anyway, so let's get to the heart of the program, and let's take a look at the old CoinGecko and see what we have going on here. All right, I use CoinGecko. Some people use CoinMarketCap, CoinCodex, CoinPaprika, Coin this, Coin that. CoinGecko has Bitcoin at 34,028.81. Yesterday it got up over 35,000, and that's pretty good. I think it's about the fourth time that it's tapped at 35,000, and it's trying to get back up there, and we will see. I have full faith and belief that Bitcoin will reach 35,000 again, 40,000 again, and well beyond that by the end of the year. This is all just another one of those retracement processes that we've seen throughout the history of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin drops 40% like it's nothing, man. So don't worry about it. If you're new to the game, yesterday I went, there's a lot of neighborhood block parties, and I went to a neighborhood block party as well for my neighborhood, and cat got out of the bag that I'm into crypto, and it started getting all the usual questions, and somebody said, I own 150 million Shiba Inu tokens. I'm just like, Oh man. Yeah, it's almost like I think it's possibly like a psyop or something that they're throwing out these meme tokens that are completely worthless and will just wreck people to create a bad reputation for everything that is happening, so they can kind of guide the development of crypto progress in the way that the institutions want them, rather than the way that the people and Nakamoto originally had developed it. So they're trying to keep the perpetual reputation of crypto as being that's something that's kind of for criminals and money launderers and degenerates and gamblers and all that, so that they can control the narrative in some way, shape, or fashion. So I don't know, but I tried. I explained. I was like, that's fun if you're into that type of gambling, and I fully accept those meme coins as some kind of game if that's what you want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that actually if that's what you want to do and you understand the risks and you understand what that's about. But that is not crypto. That is not Bitcoin, and it is not what we're out to seek to achieve. And I explained what we're out trying to achieve is Web 3.0. For everybody to have the browser wallets, decentralization, opportunity for everybody to participate in the nodes and the networks, and to be able to subvert the credit and banking system, which is designed to create a classist structure. And I didn't say racist structure; I said classist structure. And that's a major point of confusion. People don't understand the amount of control built in systematically to create a class and a caste system in the United States and throughout the world by the banking elites. And Bitcoin circumvents this, and a lot of people debate on whether or not some of these other cryptocurrencies contribute to this classist ecosystem, or like Bitcoin, circumvent it. And so Ethereum and a lot of these others can be debatable. And you have to kind of take that on a project by project and a technology by technology basis. I don't know. Either way, I'm in it for the tech. I literally am, and I read white papers and crap like that. And the technology can be used for good or for evil. I mean, look at nuclear bombs, for instance. Look at chemicals, such as cyanide and stuff like that. I mean, everything can be used for some good purpose and some evil purpose. So you have to, it's like God gave us tools. What is mankind going to do with it? So it all comes back to us and how we behave ourselves, and our own personal choices and decisions. It's kind of the juxtaposition between free will and predestiny, always at odds, at tension. And if they don't have that tension, then there is no life, and it's the mystery that is in between those two, rotating around each other. That's where life is, right? Anyway, got pretty deep and philosophical there. Ethereum, $2,228.32. So now I've explained yesterday why we have 3 stable coins in the top 10. And that's just because there's a huge surge in cryptocurrency and people are really enjoying these higher interest 1980s style interest rates. And then there's Binance Coin, $299.11. Binance is a centralized exchange coin. This is another type of coin I want to distinguish. So there are, Bitcoin and Ethereum, Cardano. A lot of these are blockchain coins right here. And then you have centralized exchange tokens such as Binance Coin. Let's see if I can find any others up here near the top. I know there's Huobi token. There's Celsius Network as a centralized coin. OKB. Let's see here. There's the Huobi one I was talking about. These are run by centralized exchanges, and a lot of times they use these Nexo. They use these as incentives to participate in their exchange network, and the more tokens you hold, the higher interest rate you'll get and stuff like that. So if they are running on some kind of blockchain network, it helps to secure their system as well as kind of a proof of stake system. Okay, so then there's Cardano, $1.40. The Doge down to 23 cents. What's going on, Doge? You need Elon Musk to tweet for you again. And then XRP, 66 cents. Polkadot down to 15.20. So we're having a little bit of a red day, a Monday red day. Okay. Binance, the stablecoin, Uniswap, 1966. Bitcoin Cash, 497.82. Litecoin, 137.38. Solana, 33.55. Chainlink, 18.26. Polygon, $1.11. Ethereum Classic, 54.58. ICP Clown Token, 45.42. Theta Network, 6.04. And then let's see where the Shiba Inu is that a guy in my neighborhood had. 0.0000835 Shiba Inu tokens. So 150 million of those. I don't even feel like doing the math. It's probably like 70. I will do the math actually. You know, let's see here. How much is 150 million Shiba Inu tokens? 0.0000835 times 150,000,000. Oh, that's $1,252 if I got the decimals correct. So that's pretty good chunk of change just to throw into gambling on Shiba Inu, man. So yeah, that could be a month's worth of rent payment for somebody. So Aave 270.23, Celsius Network 687. I want to see where Alchemix is. I have stuff being farmed on Alchemix, and it seemed to be doing pretty well yesterday. And they've gotten a lot of their issues squared away as well. So I think Alchemix, if it lasts in the long run, could be a great way, when I get older, to lock something away and borrow against it up front and let it pay itself off as a kind of a retirement nest egg that you don't necessarily have to lose possession of. And I see a lot of these older people doing these reverse mortgages on their houses and stuff like that. My grandparents did that. And it's just, it's nasty and predatory. Predatory. I don't know. All right. So anyway, yeah. So today after trying to explain some cryptocurrency concepts yesterday, I was just like, man, let's go take a look at the Bitcoin white paper. I have that hanging right above me, right there. And I have it right there. The first original Bitcoin magazine, and then over here I have the Declaration of Independence, not the one, obviously, that's in Washington D.C., but I have a copy of it. And yesterday being Independence Day, I figured all this would kind of just be appropriate to talk about Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, a Declaration of Independence on October 31st, 2008, if you will, from the banking cartel institution. Hey, Blamby, how you doing? Welcome to the show. I've seen you on here before, so welcome back. I appreciate you jumping on. I know that I don't set my show at any particular time, and it's just kind of in general in the morning, and so I appreciate you guys hopping on. I know that Theta TV kind of gives a little email, but I don't want to just commit myself to some particular time, because then it will make it stressful and it'll defeat the purpose of why I'm doing this show. I'm not doing this for profit or to shill anything or to try to make a career out of it, even though this show has led me to do to be able to get in contact with some people to do some outside work, and that's been amazing. That's kind of what I want to do now, is to keep this show separated from anything that can create money. That way it keeps the motives and incentives for this show 100% pure, to where I'm not talking about anything out of monetary interest. So anyway, so let's take a quick look at Transaction Street. Oops, not that. TXSTREET.com, and you will see. Okay. Oh, see, it said gives me incentive to wake up early. I really enjoy you in the morning. Cool. Yeah. So you must be on this side of the world then to wake up early. And there's a few of us that like waking up early. And people are like, I'm not a morning person. I didn't think I was a morning person, but I ended up being when I had kids. Okay, so you have Ethereum here on the left, and this is all the buses and the traffic and the blockchain, and you have all the little transactions making their way from their respective places, waiting in the meme pool. And the meme pool is the collection of transactions waiting to be added to the block. And over here you have Bitcoin. And you have the Bitcoin bus and everybody jumping on the bus. And right now traffic's flowing pretty smoothly. I've seen in the past where traffic has been building up pretty far down. And transaction costs are median fee $1.47. Man, things are really, really, really cheap right now. And so if you have things locked up on any type of decentralized protocol, now's a good time to be moving that around and making some changes, because previously if you were on MakerDAO or Aave or anything like that, or some kind of decentralized protocol, it would cost an arm and a leg to make any changes to those smart contracts. And now you can do that. I've moved stuff around as well. I added, like I said, stuff on Alchemix and on Bancor and all that stuff. So those are doing very well for me now. We got Ontario, Canada here. Okay, cool, man. I see so much stuff going on in blockchain in Ontario, Canada. You guys really are like in touch with crypto and blockchain, so much more than a lot of other places in the world. Yes, so this is kind of what the block looks like in a visualized format. So let's go back over here to the white paper. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system written by Satoshi Nakamoto, and as you probably know, if you don't know, Satoshi, however you want to say it, tomato, is I guess the proper Japanese way to say it would be like Satoshi Nakamoto, Yeah, a mysterious figure. There's a lot of speculation about who Satoshi Nakamoto could be. Adam Back, Nick Szabo, Hal Finney, or even like Elon Musk and Sergey Nazarov, the founder of Chainlink. And then there's been people that claim that they're Satoshi, like this guy Craig Wright that does Bitcoin SV. Don't buy the other Bitcoins, by the way. People say, Bitcoin Cash is trying to be like a cash version, because they say Bitcoin now, the old Bitcoin is supposed to be, impractical as cash. And then there's Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Diamond. And man, I think sometimes the only reason that those are alive and kicking is because people mistake it for the original Bitcoin. Like, I think I'll buy, this Bitcoin. It looks a little bit cheaper, like it's a little more affordable, because I can't buy one of these whole Bitcoins over here for $33,000, but I do have enough to, buy, if I can scroll down here, a little bit of $140.52 is Bitcoin SV. Okay, I'll get a few of those. I can do that. Yeah, I own 5 Bitcoins now. No, that's not the same. Okay, so don't buy that. Okay, unless you read the white paper and you want to subscribe to whatever they're trying to tell you. Anyway, Satoshi Nakamoto, apparently it originated from the cypherpunks and the cypherpunk email, I guess, address type of thing that they had going. I'm going to have to do an entire episode dedicated to 100% specifically the cypherpunks. They had, Bitcoin didn't just come out of the thin air out of nowhere. It started with e-gold and Hashcash and a bunch of other ideas before that were coagulating throughout the cypherpunks email circles and stuff like that on how they could achieve a peer-to-peer type of electronic cash system. They had something called Liberty Cash before as well that people were using to exchange one-to-one representations of the dollar outside of the dollar system, so they could circumvent the banks and stuff like that. And that got taken down by the feds as illegal. And a lot of that was centralized because it still had to use some kind of intermediary. So the abstract here of the white paper, and the white paper is kind of like the Declaration of Independence, kind of like the Bible. And even notice, look, 12 paragraphs, just like 12 disciples, right? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. You can draw a lot of comparisons, I can't help it, man. I'm a ex-seminarian, so I draw comparisons with everything with that. So anyway, a purely peer-to-peer cash version of electronic cash would allow, I even highlight all this stuff like biblical texts. So a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. So no third-party intermediary, just like... Oh my God, another religious comparison, you know? You don't need the third party priests or clergy or anything like that. You may have a direct relationship with your one true creator. Okay, so digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits of it are lost if a third party is still required to prevent double spending. Double spending is a problem. We propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer network. And peer-to-peer is your friend network. It is somebody that is equal to you. It is not some kind of person or institution or concept sitting way up here. A peer is you're on your playing field. You can look over next to you, and it's your buddy in your school in the school classroom sitting there, and you can ask to borrow his eraser or her eraser. Yeah, so that is peer-to-peer network, and so anybody can spin up a node, and a node is just a computer running these transactions, and it's open and free to everybody. You don't have to have some sort of accreditation in any qualifications or credit score or anything like that. The network timestamps transactions by hashing them onto an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing the proof of work. The longest chain not only serves as the proof of sequence of events witnessed, but proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power, as long as the majority of CPU power is controlled by nodes, aka separate computers that are not cooperating to attack the network. They'll generate the longest chain and outpace attackers. The network itself requires minimal structures. Messages are broadcast on a best effort basis, and nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the longest proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. So let's scroll down through here to some of my highlights and stuff like that. Completely non-reversible transactions are not really possible since financial institutions cannot avoid mediating disputes. So that is kind of the purpose of the third party and of the authority of the banking institution to say, well, you know, it's protection. Doesn't it always start off as protection, mafia activity? Well, it's for your own good. It's for your protection. We're here to make sure that nothing happens to you. We just want to make sure you're safe. So the cost of mediation includes your dignity. Okay, no, includes transaction costs, limiting the minimum practical transaction size and cutting off the possibility for small causal transactions. There's a broader cost in the loss of ability to make non-reversible payments for non-reversible service. With the possibility of reversal, the need for trust spreads. So if you need to undo what you did, then you have to be able to trust some third-party intermediary to help you do it. Merchants must be wary of their customers hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need. So a certain percentage of fraud is accepted as unavoidable. So we know that people are going to have problems, and that is okay. Everybody has issues and blemishes and stains and sins and all that, and we know that happens, and you can't reverse those things, because once you do, you will start needing some kind of outside intermediary to justify all the reversal behavior and all that stuff. So but no mechanism exists to make payments over a communications channel without a trusted third party, and that was the problem. They always had to have this. Okay, the banks are moving towards taking away your cash, and cash is freedom because it allows you to interchange and transact with somebody outside of the banking system, and they do not like that. They need to see exactly where, how, when, why, and what you're spending your money on. And you do not have the freedom outside of that, and cash gives you that freedom. So now, as everything is moving over into electronic payments, how do you circumvent that system in a way that allows you to spend money without it being tracked? Can you give your lawn guy 20 or probably now $50 to mow your lawn without it, without you having to bust out your phone and go to your bank and get approval for it, and then possibly have them being like, yeah, we detect fraud, we're gonna have our we're gonna call you, did you make this transaction? Yes. And then if you don't react quick enough, they'll shut off your transaction. I don't know, but you get the idea. So what is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Transactions that are computationally impractical to reverse would protect sellers from fraud. and routine escrow mechanisms could be implemented to protect buyers. So double spending, you have $10, and if you were able to reverse it and find a way to reverse it, you could pull back that $10 after you've already gotten the product and go use that $10 somewhere else. In this paper, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transactions. The system is secure as long as honest nodes collectively control more CPU power than the cooperating group of attacker nodes. That would be a 51% attack where somebody tries to get more computational power than 51% of the network and overtake the network and be able to dictate decisions that the network does. So this is kind of a little schematic of the blocks, so owner one's public key, the hash, and then the signature, and then signed, and then the hash is verified, and then it goes on to the next block. I'll show you a more detailed one of that in a second. The problem is the payee can't verify that one of the owners did not double spend the coin. So right here is the original kind of blockchain without it going through the hashes. The common solution is to introduce a trusted central authority or a mint that checks every transaction for double spending. After each transaction, the coin must be returned to the mint to issue a new coin, and only coins issued directly from the mint are trusted not to be double spent. The problem with this solution is that the fate of the entire money system depends on the company running the mint, with every transaction having to go through them just like a bank. And right now that's happening a lot of times with centralized servers. Censorship can happen. Not just directly by taking down comments and stuff like that. You can take, if a company or an entity, government or whoever else does not like a website, what is it, Parler? That was the alternative to Twitter. All they have to do is not just harp on the website and being like, you can't do that. They can go over to since it's all centralized on Amazon Web Services, they can go to Amazon and just have them switch off the website. And take it down from that level. And that's kind of like right here. The problem with this solution is that the fate of the entire money system depends on the company running the mint, with every transaction having to go through them just like a bank. So we need a way for the payee to know that the previous owner did not sign any earlier transactions for our purposes. The earliest transaction is the one that counts, so we don't care about later attempts to double spend. The only way to confirm the absence of a transaction is to be aware of all transactions. In the mint-based model, the mint was aware of all transactions and decided which arrived first. Okay, so that's if you had that centralized mint. So there's a timestamp server. Each timestamp includes the previous timestamp and its hash, forming a chain with each additional timestamp reinforcing the ones before it. So the further away the block gets with other blocks added to it, the more secure all the earlier blocks are. So over time, the more secure the network becomes. Man, I got this cayenne kombucha. It hits right. So anyway, proof of work. So this is the blockchain consensus protocol in which all the nodes come to agreement that yes, this is the correct transaction. So for our timestamp network, we implement proof of work by incrementing a nonce in the block until a value is found that gives the block's hash the required 0 bits. So in order to get these computers to make all this difficult and secure and stuff like that, they have to hash the information, and by hashing I mean encode it and encrypt it, and they use what's called a SHA-256 to hash it, and it comes out with, I believe, a 64 bit character, 64 bits long, and starts with a 0, and that is the result of that. And then in order to create the next block, the computers have to run through a lot of algorithms, and a nonce is generated, and they kind of have to reverse engineer each computer after that to figure out how that nonce was generated, and a nonce is randomly generated. And I learned this. Let's see here. Where are you at? Yeah, this is. Brits use the word nonce in a very derogatory way. It's like a pedophile, basically. So if you Google nonce, you might come up with this. Yeah, British people are funny, man. Hey, mate, don't be a fucking nonce. Or, whatever. I don't know, that's a terrible British accent. But, it basically does not mean this, if this is what pops up. It means number once. So yeah, this is kind of a little more detailed version of it. So you have the previous hash, you have the timestamp, you have the transaction root, which is all the information of all the transactions that had. And Blamby says he had already Googled nonce. Yeah, to come up with the bloody pictures of all the nonces. So, and then the nonce is generated by the random algorithm. And then the difficulty of the nonce is determined by all the activity on the network. So the more activity and the more hash power that is going on in the network, the more difficult the nonce is going to be to crack. You know, so those nonces, man, watch out. They can get pretty clever here. You got the really intelligent, psychotic-looking ones like that one, man. That's probably a really difficult nonce to crack right there. Let's see here. Where was I? I got sidetracked on the nonce and I can't figure out where. Okay, so yeah. And the nonce is created, and then the next block has to create that. So think of 10 plus what equals 14. Your elementary school teacher would ask you this, and you would have to solve for that what in there, because you have the answer and you have one of the problem parts of the problem. And so that's basically what you have to solve for. The nonce is the answer, and you have to solve for the answer. And obviously it's 4, but if you're if given something like some crazy number and you have to try to solve how you got that, and then you throw in some letters in there for shites and giggles, then it can get really, really, really tough. And if it's like 64 characters long, then that's another problem too. So you need a lot of computing power in order to do that, and it does that through just like straight brute force of just trying out various scenarios until one kind of goes ding, works, and it's called the golden nonce for that reason. Just like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory finding the golden ticket, and if somebody by brute force would just buy like 10 million chocolate bars and keep unwrapping them and without eating it, to find that golden ticket. I believe one of those characters did that. Let's go over here. No, that's something else. I had another good graphic for nonce. There it is. Yeah, so you have the constant info, the version info, previous block. The Merkle root, which is you're able to take out some of the information for storage you don't have to download a full Bitcoin node if you want to put a node on your network. You don't have to use the full Bitcoin node, and then it creates Merkle roots rather than full transaction history on those versions. And then there's the timestamp and the difficulty level, and then there's the nonce that is generated, and then a new hash block is formed that solves for it for the SHA using the SHA-256 algorithm. So let's go back over here to the white paper. Okay, so proof of work is essentially one CPU, one vote instead of one IP, one vote. People would say, well, wouldn't it be fair? Just, one IP, one vote? No, because then you could have one IP, somebody creating a Sybil attack, which is somebody creating a bunch of different IPs and a bunch of different identities, all being able to overtake the network and create a 51% attack through a Sybil attack by somebody using a bunch of different IPs fraudulently. So proof of work is essentially one CPU, one vote. Hey, what's up, Bantanic? And the majority of of it is represented by the longest chain. So the longest chain shows that somebody has spent the time in it and is the most reliable and all that. If a majority of CPU power is controlled by the honest attacker, by honest nodes, the honest chain will grow the fastest and outpace any competing chain. So it just shows, honesty is the best policy. You will get the furthest using the honesty always wins in the end, and everybody's going to try to sneak around and sneak attack and try to, circumvent the honest player. And according to Bitcoin, there is no way around it. Mathematically, honesty wins. To modify a pass block, an attacker would have to redo the proof of work of the block and all the blocks after it and catch up with and surpass the work of the honest nodes. Then they show later that the probability of a slower attacker catching up diminishes exponentially as more blocks are added to the system. To compensate for increasing hardware speed and varying interest in running nodes over time, the proof of work difficulty is determined by a moving average targeting an average number of blocks per hour. If they're generated too fast, difficulty increases. So Bitcoin has 21 million blocks total that are Bitcoins that are going to be created and then it'll stop. But it has to go at a specific pace, and they have to they adjust the difficulty of that nonce that I was talking about. Each block that is created, and if they start creating blocks too fast because people start buying all these crazy ASICs and high-powered computers and stuff like that, then the difficulty of the nonce will increase, and then the lower the supply, and obviously the higher the hash power the network grows, the more difficult that nonce gets and harder to crack. So that way it keeps the pace. It's kind of the pace car. The nonce is the pace car. So that's it. They should write nonce really big on the pace car at NASCAR, but the Americans would have no idea what that means. That probably wouldn't really go over too well for F1. So steps to run the network as follows. New transactions broadcast to all node. Each node collects new transactions into a block, like that meme pool I showed you right here on Transaction Street. And so yeah, look at this meme pool. Man, the traffic was pretty low just not too long ago. Now look at that. My God, all these people are waiting for the block. What's happened? We've had a little traffic jam go on. Anyway, so each node works on finding a difficult proof of work for its block. When a node finds a proof of work, it broadcasts the block to all nodes. Nodes accept the block only if all transactions in it are valid and not already spent. Nodes express their acceptance of the block by working on and creating the next block in the chain using the hash of the accepted block as the previous hash. If two nodes broadcast different versions of the next block simultaneously, some nodes may receive one or the other first. In that case, they will work on the first one they receive, but save the other branch in case it becomes longer. The tie will be broken when the next proof of work is found and one branch becomes longer. The nodes that were working on the other branch will then switch to the longer one. So it creates a little temporary fork. And the one that doesn't win is called an uncle. And the uncle kind of just ends up floating off into the metaverse and is no longer heard from after the legitimate block gets added to the block. So if two blocks come up and solve it simultaneously, they both kind of have a race to see which one sticks around the longest. Consistency is key. You can win a lot of things with a bunch of mediocre effort if you just have consistency. Hence, kind of why I get up every morning and do this show, right? I try to be consistent. Anyway, the steady addition of a constant amount of new coins is analogous to gold miners expending resources to add gold to circulation. Okay. And then the incentive can also be funded with transaction fees. So after the 21 million coins are found, there will be transaction fees that will keep it going. Once a predetermined number of coins have entered the circulation, the incentive can transition entirely to transaction fees and could be completely inflation free. Okay, if a greedy attacker is able to assume more CPU power than all the honest nodes, he would have to choose between using it to defraud people by stealing back his payments or using it to generate new coins. He ought to find it more profitable to play by the rules, such rules that favor him with more new coins than anyone else combined, than to undermine the system and the validity of his own wealth. So it costs more than it's worth to overtake the system, and it's just more profitable to play by the rules. That's if profit is your motivation. Now, the little thing that they don't account for is the fact that some people behave irrationally, absolutely irrationally, and may just do it out of spite and anger and hatred and lots of personal issues and problems to try to overtake the network that make absolutely zero rational sense. They're kind of assuming that everybody operates on irrational behavior. So anyway, let's see. Moore's law predicting a current growth of 1.2 gigabytes per year. Storage should not be a problem, even if the block headers must be kept in memory. So that's where the Merkle tree comes in. To run a node, a lot of times you only need the block header that represents all the transactions, and you don't have to have the entire transaction and all the little bits and pieces of it stored on your computer. And then if you need to go back and refer to it for some kind of arbitration or dispute resolution, you can go back and download the rest of all that information. It is possible to verify payments without running a full node network. A user only needs a copy of the block headers of the longest proof of work chain, which he can get by querying the network nodes until he's convinced he has the longest chain, and obtain the Merkle branch linking the transaction to the block he's time stamped in. So that is possible. You don't have to store the entire thing. And then I'm trying to speed through this now because I've gone over, well over, okay. But this is, it's the white paper. So, the simplified method can be fooled by an attacker's fabricated transactions for as long as the attacker continued to overpower the network. One strategy to protect against this would be to accept alerts from network nodes when they detect an invalid block, so you could get little alarms. And then let's see here, combining and splitting value. Yes, you can do that, and that goes into a whole other rabbit hole of UTXOs, unspent transaction outputs, and I'll probably have to do an entire video about that. But it allows it to be split and combined, and transactions contain multiple inputs and outputs. But that's basically, instead of one $10 bill, you can have a 10 and 5 ones, and whatever combination, privacy can still be maintained by breaking the flow of information in another place by keeping public keys anonymous. The public can see that someone is sending an amount to someone else, but without information linking the transaction to anybody. So here's a traditional model: identity, transactions, trusted third party, counterparty, then the public behind the wall. And then here is the identities behind the wall, but then the transactions in the public. People can do chainalysis. But now with Taproot and all these modifications, it's becoming a little harder to do chainalysis, that they're implementing things like ring signatures and stuff like that. The risk is that if the owner key of a key is revealed, linking could reveal other transactions that belong to the same owner, hence chainalysis. An attacker can only try to change one of his own transactions to take back the money he recently spent. Then they have what's called the gambler's ruin problem of how it makes it exponentially difficult for somebody to try to, a dishonest node to try to catch up to the honest node. And then, probability drops exponentially as the number of blocks the attacker has to catch up with increases. With the odds against him, he doesn't make a lucky lunge forward early on. His chances become vanishingly small as he falls further behind. So that makes it really tough for anybody to falsify. And the conclusion, finally, we started with the usual framework of coins made from digital signatures, which provides strong control ownership, but is incomplete without a way to prevent double spending. And that's what Bitcoin's all about, preventing double spending to allow cash to happen. The network is robust in its unstructured simplicity. Network nodes work all at once with little coordination. They do not need to be identified, since messages are not routed to any particular place and only need to be delivered on a best effort basis. Nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. They vote with their CPU power, expressing their acceptance of a valid blocks by working on extending them, and rejecting invalid blocks by refusing to work on them. Any needed rules and incentives can be enforced with this consensus mechanism. And there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. We have the Bitcoin white paper, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Developed October 31st, Halloween of 2008. I don't know what I was doing in 2008 Halloween. I think I was at some kind of, I don't know, probably wasted at some skateboard party. But so yes, then the new Declaration of Independence was being formed during that time. So I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. All right, I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and who knows what we'll be talking about. I got to get up and go to work, so I'll be extra early tomorrow. And you guys have a good day, and thanks for jumping on. Randy, Blamby, Bantanic, I always appreciate you guys jumping in. And then this other person just followed me, so thanks for that too. You got a pretty weird screen name, I can't pronounce it. All right, I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, bye.